All right, welcome kings and queens. Today we are talking Love and Marriage Huntsville, honey. Season 6, episode 4. Y'all, what are your thoughts on the episode? Type it in the chat. Do you feel like, now not an emotional perspective, but do you feel like this episode gave what the viewers have been asking for? A little bit of this and a little bit of that. What are your thoughts before I give you mine? Because I do not want to impress you with my thoughts before I get your thoughts. But Palace, are y'all ready to talk about it? Okay, let's talk about it. You may want to pull up a seat for this one. Go ahead and pause it if you need to. Get your little snacks, get your drinks, sit down, and let's talk. For those of you who are just tuned in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience. Now, let me give a warning, because I'm going to take somewhat of a different approach with this review today, but I would like to warn you, this is for 18 and up, because I am going to say some stuff today. And I will be using some choice words and descriptive words, if you get my drift. I'm going to be cussing today, okay? I'm going to be cussing. And I just wanted to give you a heads up. So there we have it. See? There we have it. I know you've become accustomed to a certain way that I present and I facilitate these conversations around Love and Marriage Huntsville, but there's some shit that bothered me. So I'm going to keep it real as if we're at happy hour. Okay, so please forgive me ahead of time and in advance for giving it to you straight. Now, this scene picks up where they left off last week. In the spa, Tiffany inserting herself into these people's business. Tiffany, what are you doing? What are you doing, Tiffany? You got to do better because it ain't none of your damn business. If we're just talking, let the cousins work that out. It ain't none of your damn business, and it damn sure isn't Stormy's business. But somehow you and Stormy, Tiffany back down. I appreciate Tiffany being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel and backing down. Stormy, however, I'll get to you in a minute. Tiffany, these are grown women. And at one point, I felt like you were talking to them like they were children when you were saying friends come and go. Girl, they know. They know friends come and go. But that's not the issue. The issue is these cousins really have beef. And this beef has nothing to do with Melody. And that's why you should have sat that one out, Tiffany. Because this is a historical dynamic between the two. Right? Instead of sibling rivalry, it's cousin rivalry that has been orchestrated by two dysfunctional parents on each side of the fence. So that's kind of why you need to sit that out and let those cousins work through that. Tisha had to physically touch Kiki's face to get Kiki to de-escalate. But that's 1,000% on you, Tiffany. Because you got it started at this spa. You stirred that pot and you turned what could have been a positive event into a damn ghetto fest in these people's spa. And I kind of feel like it was right up Stormy's alley because Stormy could not wait to jump in with her ghetto ass and pile on. But in this moment, I sensed that Tisha for once saw through Stormy. If you go back and watch the scene carefully, there's some revelation that you can see being displayed over Letitia's face and some of her facial reactions to Stormy's viewpoints and Stormy's opinion. For once, I have to say Letitia understands that Stormy was being messy. At least I thought so. At one point, I think Letitia had enough and figured, you know what, this really ain't going nowhere. So she said, I'm good. We're not going to talk about this. Now, I get that, Letitia. I get that part. And when she was saying we're not going to talk about this, she wasn't talking about the dynamics between she and Kiki. She was also talking about the dynamics about the alleged infidelity that Marcel has had and continues to have, there's always rumors regarding Marcel and his alleged habit of having a healthy appetite. Yeah, a healthy appetite for women. So Letitia wanted to shut that component of the conversation down. And I get that. But my question to you is, why not you? Okay. How come you can talk about Melody and Martel's relationship, but your relationship is off the table? I get it, but I just want you to think about that, Letitia, the next time you try to speak on somebody else's husband. All right. So let me get back to Stormy, because I said I was coming back. And here I am. Here I am. The Stormy that you saw in this scene in the spa is the real Stormy. Will the real Stormy please stand up? And that's the girl that Melody did not pitch for the show. That's the girl Melody is beginning to see and come to know. But just for those of you that are wondering, that's the real Stormy. That old ghetto loud talking, won't be quiet. Even when the girl said, I'm good, let's move on, you kept running your mouth about her family business. And then presented it as if you were the bigger woman and Kiki were the lesser woman. The lesser woman. Did y'all catch that? And I felt like that was a botched attempt to deflect from the fact that you were actually being extremely messy at Melody's Christmas party. So instead of you being the bigger woman, ma'am, in that moment, okay, and coming in like a real G that you profess to be and saying, you know what? I did bring it up. My bad. I didn't know you then, Tisha. So, girl, you were not off limits. Yes, girl, I was talking about your husband because there are so many rumors about Marcel in these streets of Huntsville, girl. And he seems to have a healthy appetite for women outside of his marriage, Letitia. My bad. And now that you and I are getting to know each other, you ain't never got to worry about me saying nothing else. And if that hurts your feelings, I apologize. I apologize because I did not expect us to be friends. My bad. I did talk shit. And that's how you do that, Stormy. But that's not what you did. That's not what you did. You try to put it all on Kiki as if Kiki is a horrible cousin and Kiki didn't do enough to take the approach of family over everything. Kiki and Tisha worked out their part. But if you go insert yourself and be the so-called bigger woman and talk about your shit and how you was being messy, it's just that simple. That's it. So this scene really told me a lot about Stormy, and I mean a whole lot. If you're so high and mighty, Miss Stormy, then pay them people. Pay them people that allege $1.7 million. Okay? Pay your customers their refunds on those items that they did not receive. If you're that so much of a bigger woman, rise to the occasion and handle your business. While you trying to focus on everybody else's family business, I need you to handle your business with your personal customers. You get what I'm saying? Because at this point, I feel like you've said enough in this scene. Way too much, as a matter of fact. And that's why I said Kiki is not really built for reality television, just like Tisha's not built to be the boss woman that she aspires to be right now in this season. It doesn't mean that Kiki will never be built for reality television. It's just that right now, because Kiki sat there and let Stormy lecture the fuck out of her, okay, about what she was supposed to do as a cousin. And when Kiki tried to interject and insert herself, Stormy kept cutting her off. So you got to be built for this thing when you go at a Stormy, or when somebody like Stormy cuts you off. See, Stormy can hoop and holler all day. That's in her blood. You can tell that. Look at Miss Betty. So you already know Stormy has enough toxic voltage inside of her to light up that whole room. And I don't mean that in a good way, Kiki. That's all I'm saying. And Stormy manipulated that conversation, and she came really aggressively, verbally and kept cutting you off every time you tried to say something. I wish you would have ate her ass alive, Kiki. I wish you would have went toe to toe to toe with her verbally and ate her alive verbally. You not even calling her out her name and nothing like that, but just eating her up. So the next time she thinks twice about inserting herself in your family business. And the whole time they're doing all of this, y'all, all of this ghetto ass shit in the spa, the entire time I'm thinking, oh, Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. These white people will probably never want black parties to be held in their establishment again. Do you understand me? Do you understand me? Imagine working and building something and trying to attract all levels of clientele. And you hear that a television production show wants to rent out your spa with excellent, classy, sophisticated black women. And they hooping and hollering, disturbing everybody else on the other side of the spa. I know I would have been pissed off if I was in a different room getting a massage, hearing all of this bullshit going on. I would have asked for my damn money back, right? They didn't know how to act. They didn't know how to act. They did not have the proper decorum for that environment. And I think at one point it hit Melody. What the hell am I doing with my beautiful brand? And God said, go. Sitting in all of this. And God said, go. And Melody got up and she went. Melody got up and left. And she came back after she got dressed, right? She came back to remind them of the mission. Now follow me very closely because I'm not sure if anybody else picked up on this. Stormy was so focused on her own agenda that she missed the entire point Melody was attempting to make. First off, Stormy, Melody was not coming to you as a cast member in that moment. That's not the Melody I saw. When Melody stood in that doorway and she said what she said, what I saw in that moment, Melody had put on her producer's hat. And she came back to remind the group of the mission and to stay on par. And this is not what the viewers want. They don't want to see continued drama time and time again. So let's keep the goal in mind as we move forward. Stormy wants to be a reality television star so bad that what Melody was saying and the position that Melody took went completely over her head. Completely over her head, okay? And just like her mama, old Betty Crocker, Stormy cut Melody off, started talking over her, and just really, really honed in on her agenda. Well, I think it was fine. Sweetheart, we don't care about what you think. You just pulled up this season as a full cast member. Pump your brakes. Pump your brakes, little girl. You know, a while back, The Mind of Lilith did a video talking about the dynamics between Stormy and Destiny when they got into it. And Lilith shared that from what she's observed, Stormy seems to be a person who kind of sees a problem when there really isn't a problem. And when she said that last season, I think that was last season or season before, I think it was last season, I disagreed. But now I understand. I completely understand what she means. Stormy's a shit starter. Those women better be careful because Stormy is Betty. So they have a couple of more scenes, and I'm not going to review all of the scenes. Marcel met in an office that I don't really believe belongs to him. I think that's a good friend did you a favor and allowed you to use some type of skincare office or a medical spa, because that's what I was getting from that office. I don't believe that's your office, but I do believe you were able to connect with somebody. And they said, sure, you can utilize our office. And he brings in this guy named Gino. I don't think Gino is Marceau's business partner, nor do I think Gino. And Gino, this is no offense to you, but you better be careful appearing on TV with the Scotts. But I don't think, so now I got to review you, Gino. But I don't think Gino is a project manager. I know how that works. No, I don't think that. I think he's a friend that you ushered into the show. I don't believe the conversation is real. I think they kind of teed Gino up on what to say and how to highlight Letitia so that Letitia gets a favorable scene, that somebody else sees her in a positive. But I think it's completely all contrived, and Marceau has no intention of seeing his wife in a different light. Now that I understand how the Scotts move and I know what I know and the documents that I have, yes, I do not believe anything that comes out of their mouth regarding their lifestyle and all of that. So I'm going to leave that right there. I'm going to park that right there and let you all have it. They also had a scene where the guys were kind of like hitting some balls for baseball. And the entire time as Maurice was engaging and interacting with Martel, I kept thinking, Maurice, I think you're an undercover freak. And I think anything goes with you. Because you sure do be dick watching a lot, quite often when it comes to Martel. Why are you concerned with his penis and what he does with it and who he does what he does with? That's none of your damn business as a married man. And even if you want to know, bro, keep it off the camera. You are a married man. And that's how I know that. I don't know what these boys got going on. But Maurice, next season, I'm going to need you to quit dick watching, okay? Y'all, please forgive me. I told you I was giving you raw and real. But Maurice, that ain't a good taste. That's not a good look for you. I'm sorry. Maurice, that is not a good look for you as a grown man to get that excited about another man's sex life. Pipe it down. Okay, so let's get to the scene of the girls. So it's Kimmy. That was a cute little dress. So Kimmy's at her office, wherever that is. I don't know if that's her home office or if that's a lodge. But either way, that's her place where she conducts her business. So Letitia comes in, and later Melody will enter the scene. But let me start off with Kimmy and Letitia. Now, the purpose of this scene is because Kimmy wants to bring the ladies back together and do a reset, right? Let's forget everything that's happened and let's move forward. I think Melody's been saying that for quite some time, but that's okay. They recycled this with Kimmy. It didn't occur to me in a moment, but I see Kimmy falling back into her old role as a matriarch of the group. And I appreciate the efforts. However, to the production team that works directly with Kimmy and Maurice, what I would like to see is a bit more of her life behind the camera outside of the other cast members and outside of her trying to bridge the gap between the other ladies. I want to see more of her and Maurice and things like that. I don't want to see her trying to nudge Letitia along. Letitia's a big girl, and if Letitia cannot hold her own, then she needs to go. I feel like Tisha is not progressing, and it's becoming extremely apparent as the seasons continue to go on. And I'm not sure if Tisha knows how to progress outside of being confrontational and or messy. I think, I don't know. That's what I don't know if Tisha knows what to latch on to regarding positivity, realness, transparency. I don't really think Letitia has done a deep introspection and has really sat down and taken a hard look at herself. Unfortunately, I feel like there seems to be this victim mentality that Letitia tends to cling to. Let's switch gears. Melody comes in, honey, and I just found my heart smiling. When she walked in that room, I was like, whoo, it completely changed the energy, even for me as a viewer at home. Y'all, There's no denying. Melody is the epitome of class and sophistication. And I can truly say that this girl is a star. And I wish nothing but the best for her. Stardom is something that either you got it or you ain't got it. And when Melody walked in, that entire room lit up with energy. Kimmy's disposition changed. She started laughing. Have you noticed that? Did y'all not notice that? She loosened up. She laughed. And that's what we want to see the girls do. Have a good old kiki and a good old time. And we hadn't seen that in the first 3 episodes because it was so heavily laden with the drama that Stormy and Tiffany were bringing. There was no laughter. There was no coming togetherness. None of that. It was dark. It was heavy. And I know it's necessary. But Melody did what she needed to do. And Kimmy completely lit up. Tisha is a Debbie Downer, in my opinion. You know, I feel like Tisha can be a Debbie Downer for most people if they hang out with her after a while. And I can see how Kimmy said that they may not have been as close as they are had it not been for the two of them being sister-in-laws. The entire time I'm sitting there and I'm watching this girl before Melody got there, and the energy from her was just off to me. Ain't nothing like a person who wants to stay mad. And Tisha, I think you may be the one with the dark soul. Because your envy and your insecurity spoke volumes in this scene. Now, you got it together towards the end. But it was jumping out. Your insecurity when Melody walked in, the envy. And it took you, I don't know how long it took to shoot that scene, but finally at the end, you were able to reposition yourself and get yourself together and become a girl's girl. Follow me closely. Melody walks in and she comes bearing gifts. There's an old Southern adage, don't show up empty-handed. It was a beautiful gesture. And it also reminds me of the biblical days when people would gather around food. There's something about bringing food that people are more receptive and open to. So Melody, that was pretty smart. And it was a beautiful gesture, as I said. Now, think of Tisha's primary purpose for being there. And what Kimmy said is it was to allow Tisha to utilize, it was to allow Tisha to utilize an office space that she is not needing. Now, keep in mind, Kimmy is paying for that, whether it's out of her home, the mortgage that she pays, or a lodge that she's renting. So she's agreed to allow Tisha to use that space. That's also a beautiful and a kind gesture. So we have 2 kind gestures, 2 random acts of kindness being displayed in this scene. One from Melody, who walks in to feed everybody, and one from Kimmy, who's extending her overflow to Letitia. Are y'all following me? But the point is, Letitia walked in empty-handed. No thank you card. Not even a little bitty cup of coffee for Kimmy. No croissant. Nothing as an expression of her appreciation. She just came to receive with the level of expectation that Kimmy is supposed to help her. Now keep in mind, later on throughout the episode, she also wants Kimmy to work for free for the Black Expo thing. And I think that's what Marcel may have meant last season when he said, I really wish that Letitia could come up off of her own work and her own labor. I know a lot of takers. What do y'all think? Do you know people that are constantly asking, but never really in a position to give? And what begins to happen is people silently start to walk away from you. They don't want to fool with you because they know every time you call and you texting or you reaching out is because what your grandma say, they always want something. Y'all know somebody like that? Do y'all get what I'm saying? Tisha's the only woman in the group who showed up empty-handed, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. As I sat and watched that scene and I processed it, it's like it reminded me of trying to squeeze juice from a turnip. That's an almost impossible task. And I get what the goal is, which is to wrap Tisha up in this beautiful package and present her to the fans and the viewers. But at this point, you're forcing it, production. She's not there. That's not her calling. She is not the leading lady. So please continue to utilize her as a supporting cast, but let's not force the leading lady thing. Let's go back to Marcel, last episode. He said, play your role, Letitia, at that kitchen table in their home. He said, you play your role and let me be the president. And when he said you play your role, he was not talking majority owner. He meant that in the very sense of the word. Play your role. You continue to play this fictitious character that you have made out to be on this show, and let me present my real life. Now, I done enough for you, girl. And I done got behind you to try to lift you up with all these lies and these shenanigans. You taking it too far. Don't sit here and have conversations with me about me making business decisions. And you know damn well that ain't your role. Play your role. Okay, so, honey, Melody, what was in that chicken salad? Because, baby, Melody was eating like it was the Last Supper. So I was like, I know that food has to be good. And I got so tickled because Melody did not miss a beat with that food. And I was like, child, let me go see if I can find me a place to give me a little chicken salad today with some crackers. That's how good she made that food look. So Melody brought up the idea of hosting a tea party so that they could have someone else facilitate the conversation around various communication styles and the proper ways to communicate. Now, remember the spa scene, right? They started this episode off and Melody had to leave because the girls were just doing too much. And Melody came back with her producer hat on to say, y'all need to calm down. Remember, the main thing is moving forward. Y'all remember that? And Stormy was loud about saying everything has been solved. This was a necessary conversation, and I'm glad we had it, because now we good to go. Okay? So why in the hell are you and your mama going to show up in the next episode or two with mess at a tea party? Y'all get what I'm saying? Are y'all following me? If everything is solved, then why are you showing up at a tea party to be messy with your mom? I don't care how many interviews Carlos does with Stormy to talk about her business. Where is that lady that he interviews? Because we damn sure don't see her on the show. Where is that person? Huh, Stormy? Because that ain't the girl we're seeing. That's what I'm waiting for. At this point, so I got off of the chicken salad. So then Tisha, she hones in and she starts talking about the Black Expo. And what she's doing is she's socializing the idea, right? Just to kind of get a feel of how the ladies would be open to receiving it. And I knew they wouldn't really feeling it. I mean, you could see the expression on Melody's and Kimmy's face like, okay, interesting. So Tisha's business case was, we have so much knowledge and we have degrees and etc. But Letitia, let me tell you something. None of that makes you capable of pulling off successful business ventures. If that's the case, everybody that went to college would be a successful business person. So having a degree does not equate to success. And somehow I think Letitia feels like because she has all of these degrees, that she should automatically be successful. And that's what Marcel is trying to educate her on. It's not that simple, sweetheart, for neither man or woman. It's nice to have a degree as an accessory, but that's not all it takes. And while Tisha was talking and she was presenting her business case to Kimmy and Melody, all I could think about is this girl is really pleading her case to Marcel. And although she's sitting here talking to Melody and Kimmy, it's almost like it's a desperate plea for her to show them or him her worth and her value. Letitia, have a seat. Now, normally I'm hard on you because I don't see you as a victim. I see you as a willing participant, but I'm going to give you a little bit of game. And for any other woman and man that needs this, your self-worth does not come from having a degree. At least it should not. Your self-esteem, your self-worth does not come from having material things. Your self-worth comes from having a fire, an internal fire inside of you that's burning with purpose. And you just can't sit still because it's ignited and you can't put it down. That's where your self-worth comes from. It doesn't come from building a $900,000, almost $1 million home, Letitia. It doesn't come from having the newest car with bat wings and doors that fly up in the air and wave them like you just don't care and all of that stupid stuff. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't come from wearing the newest wig. It doesn't come from having surgeries on your body. It's something that you establish within your spirit. And a lot of people really don't understand the process of change because they attempt to change the outside while neglecting the inside. Your joy is your source of your strength, Letitia. And I ain't seen you have a joy in a long time. You've been hurting for as far as I can remember. So as soon as you establish your joy, there you can draw your strength. All right, so let's get to Marcel and Tisha. They're in their bedroom. They're shooting a scene together, which is rare now that I think about it. Marcel and Tisha, okay? There's only 2 couples. So when we talk about the core 6, you and Marcel are a couple. Kimmy and Maurice are a couple. We rarely see you and Marcel just carry your own weight together as a couple. So we see them shooting this scene in their bedroom. This was hard for me to watch. And I had to tell myself, well, why is this hard for you to watch? She's having a conversation with her husband. And I think the reason it's hard for me to watch, let me ask you, was that hard for y'all to watch or did it seem perfectly normal? Do you feel like they're making progress, the 2 of them, and this is a great conversation? What are your thoughts? Because it was hard for me to watch. I want to see women win. And I understand that there's a lot of opportunity for Letitia to grow. But she's not there yet. And yet they keep trying to push her out before her time. And I feel like while y'all are doing that, you're also making a fool of her on national television. I feel like Marcel has really tried, but you can't force it, y'all. You cannot force it. And when I was watching this scene, to me, it felt like a daughter presenting her science project to her daddy. And I no longer see Marcel as an oppressor. I don't. There was a time that I did. But Letitia wants to continue to pretend to be something that she's not. And that's why I said it reminds me of a little girl or a girl that's presenting her fantastic idea to her daddy when kids play make-believe. Okay? And I think it's very infuriating and it's frustrating for him as a husband because I think he wants his wife to grow up. I think he wants his wife to grow up. Now, here's the thing, Marcel. You didn't give her time to grow up. You say you met her in 1 month and you put that pressure on her and you wanted her to marry you ASAP. Is that because you didn't want her to see your flaws as well? You didn't give her time to grow up. You get what I'm saying? So now you want her to grow up. But I'm sorry. I think you stunted her growth. I think you stunted her growth. I think Miss Wanda stunted her growth. And now I think she's just, at this point, she's just kind of going with the flow. I think Marceau tries to support Tisha for the success of the show. But here's what I truly believe. I believe Letitia has yet to accept herself, flaws and all. And when she does, and Letitia, if you're listening to this, the quicker you do that, the closer you and your husband will be. Somehow, some way, Letitia has positioned herself to be more than what her reality is. And I think that's a turnoff for her husband. Do you get it? It's a turnoff, y'all. We all have gaps. We're all flawed. Each and every one of us listening to this review today. But I damn sure know mine. And what I'm not good at, I'm not good at. Girl, you're not finna make me pretend to be nothing for nobody. I know my angles. I know I'm not the most and I'm going to work with what I got. I'm going to do what I can do with what I got. And that's not what Letitia's doing, nor is that how she approaches life. Or at least this television show. I think she wants to come off as this well-rounded, savvy businesswoman. And that's not something you can pretend to be, sweetheart. Y'all, in all honesty, and I do not mean this in a bad way, I think Letitia is stuck in her childhood. But she's in the body of a full-grown woman. But mentally, I feel like, in my opinion, that Letitia is stuck in her childhood. It's almost like she's playing make-believe. Do y'all remember when we used to do that when we were little? You know, Marceau shares with Tisha some revelations that Gino gave him about being more inclusive with his wife. And it sounds good. And Tisha had a very positive and emotional reaction to what Marceau was sharing with her. It sounded good. And I truly feel like Marceau has tried and he wants to make it work in his marriage, but I don't think he's capable of doing so. I think he's tried to make his heart feel what he knows he should feel as a husband, but I don't think that he will be able to do so. It's been alleged that Marceau has had numerous affairs, and Carlos has basically said, we're not going to talk about it on this show anymore, okay? Because we cannot prove it. So I think Marceau has gotten a taste of the wild side. So much so that his heart will never be with his wife unless something detrimental happens and he's not physically capable or physically able to touch another woman sexually outside of his relationship. What's equally disappointing to me is that Letitia, you allow it. Ooh, child, let's get to this business meeting. So the original 6 are invited to this business meeting because Marceau and Tisha, they want to pitch a new idea, something ain't nobody ever heard before. Girl, they're about to blow these people out of the water with this quote unquote new idea. Child, it's the same idea. So this is the same idea that I said it felt like a little girl talking to her daddy. Letitia was rehearsing this idea. So now they're about to bring it to the group. Keep in mind they're late. Okay? That's why I do not believe that these people run a successful construction business. So you want them to work for free, and then you turn around and disrespect their time by being 45 minutes late to your own meeting. Okay, all right. When Martel So Kimmy and Maurice gets there first. Martel arrives second. When Martel learns that Melody's coming, he reverts to his grown boy behavior and he moved the seat, y'all. There was another seat next to him. He moved it so that Melody would not be seated next to him. Melody walks in, and this Negro right here, this man is being eaten alive by her thrive and her success. You big dummy. In his confessional, he said something very interesting, and it pissed me off. He said, out of respect for Tisha and Marcel, I'm going to try to keep this meeting professional. Motherfucker, you ain't got no choice. So you was going to pop off had Melody been by herself? Huh? And that's why I understand why Melody now needs security. This Negro goes on camera, I'm going to try to keep this professional. What else did you have in mind? Huh? At a business meeting. So you was going to pop off. All right. Okay. How about this? Now, Negro, out of respect for yourself, keep it respectful. And that's the problem I have with these low budget ass cast members. You should have an ounce of integrity where you keep shit respectful because that's the right thing to do and not because it's attached to anybody else outside of you. Oh, he real mad. Melody's looking good. She's unbothered. And I'm glad she rubbed it in his face when she said it's called happy. Chew on that, old Marty Mar. Your eyes open now? Finally, it has happened to me. Finally. After 45 minutes, Letitia and Marcel walk in. Embarrassing. I wish the hell I would do business with someone who doesn't have enough respect to get to their own meeting on time. And that's why I say Letitia isn't a boss, and I'm not really keen on showing her too much grace. Because either you want success or you don't. And your action shows me that you don't. You do not behave like a woman who's chasing purpose. All right? So Letitia starts off by reading the PowerPoint word for word. And this is not bad if she would have been transparent about her journey from the get-go. But this is real bad from so-called business people who generate $17 million annually. This real bad, sweetheart. She shares with the group that she either wants them to be a panel or a spokesperson highlighting their business, a panel member or a spokesperson where they highlight their business or just kind of talk about it as a collective. Then they show a picture of Tisha and Marcel on the PowerPoint, and they highlight, well, actually, Tisha makes it a point to call out every business venture that she and Marcel has. You know, camera time. Let me kind of call out my stuff and all of that. You know, the businesses that made them the $17 million profits. But also the businesses that are so profitable that you're back into an apartment. Okay. Don't even worry about that. But another thing, let me say this. Stop plopping that damn bottle of champagne in every damn scene. It's not a great marketing strategy. It makes you look undeveloped. As a businessman, Marcel, that product needs to be featured in the right environment and the right circumstances, not in these random ass scenes as if you're conducting a business meeting like you're in corporate America. People don't drink at work, so it makes absolutely no sense. Are y'all following me? Like, this has become a shit show. Production, can y'all say to them, hey, can we make it a little bit more believable, Marcel? I don't know, man. If you just plop it here, it ain't really giving reality television. It looks staged. It looks disingenuous. We really want to be able to help you pull this story off to the viewers, but you gotta, I don't know, man. What else can we come up with? Because listen, you don't see successful liquor and beverage companies grossly mismanaging their advertising efforts. You're not going to see a well-known wine vendor market their wine in a conference meeting. Like, really? At least make it believable, Marcel. So Letitia, after she wraps up her PowerPoint presentation, she starts to celebrate in her confessional. Now, keep in mind, the group has not had an opportunity to weigh in, nor have they stated their position. Tisha, you're celebrating a bit prematurely. Kimmy then asks her, what is the objective of the meeting? What is the objective? Not the meeting, I'm sorry. What is the objective of the expo? Which means, Letitia, that you failed to convey that and cover that in your initial presentation. Good call out, Kimmy. And Tisha and Marceau, y'all, they slick. Sorry, excuse me. They are slick. They took the original idea of the comeback group, they repackaged it, and they presented it as their own brainchild. Child, I can't make this stuff up. Melody chimes in. Loved her strategy. I see you, Mel. I see what Melody did. She gave a positive before a negative. She told Letitia and Marcel, hey, I like the name. I think it's a great idea. I love it. I'm just a bit curious about your budget. What have you allotted for your speakers? And Tisha was real confused. Like, huh? What? Speakers? What do you mean budget? And Melody said, what's the budget that you plan on paying your speakers? And Letitia said, oh, hell no. Hell to the no. Hell no. Y'all ain't getting nothing. You gonna work for free. Okay? Pretty much, she didn't say hell to the no. But basically, she said, I'm not paying y'all. Then Martel, like the little boy that he is, he whispers to Marcel, ask her, referring to Melody, what's her fee? Boy, have a seat. You could never have a seat. Because even if she told you, you ain't got it. So let's move on. Kimmy questions the marketing objective, the communication strategy. How do you plan to get this out to the general public? What's your communication campaign? Tell me about the pipeline that you're building. She didn't say all that. Y'all know I'm just being animated. And I started laughing so hard because Marceau jumped in and said, well, we're just going to use your platform, our platform. So we're going to use ours and y'all can use y'all's. And that's the marketing strategy. Now we all know Melody has the biggest platform amongst this group. So Melody chimed in again through the back door. From the window to the wall, Melody said, so how much are you offering to pay for the post? And Letitia said again, hell no, hell to the no. Y'all working for free. If I'm lying, then I'm dying. Or flying, whatever y'all say. I am not lying. Y'all watch the episode. They said, we ain't giving you shit. But we will use you if you let us. Overall, the meeting, to me, it seemed very disjointed. I ain't gonna lie. It was a one-sided meeting, very selfish. Tisha and Marcel, very selfish, one-sided meeting. And then Marceau took it upon himself, still not having the buy-in from his stakeholders. You ain't run no damn construction company. Gino ain't no damn project manager. Because you don't even know when you have the buy-in. So he still doesn't have the buy-in. But you pop open a bottle of champagne, you're supposed to save it, Marcel, because what are you cheering to? You don't do that until the deal is closed. Oh, okay. Let me move on. Imagine attempting to strong arm someone into your objective, because that's what I felt like Marceau started to do with Kimmy, and the approach that he started to do with Kimmy is exactly what he does with his own wife. Shut her down. But Kimmy came back. Kimmy came back. And she stayed on top of it. She told Tisha, hold up now. What would be our roles? And I kind of feel like Letitia's insecurity poked his head out, baby. And Letitia kind of became slightly defensive. And she kind of put her hands down and said, okay, what would you like to do? Letitia and Marceau, y'all kind of coming across as con artists now. I don't know. Because Marceau tried to swindle that conversation about money. Kimmy brought up a great example. So if you make $100K, what happens? He shut that shit down. Maurice, that would have been a great time for you to enter and say, hold up. My wife needs to finish. Let her finish her thought. That's all I'm saying, Maurice, while you out here dick watching. You could have been taken up for your wife. You could have been taken up for your wife. They could not clearly state or clarify how the team could contribute to this project. They ended the meeting with saying details are coming soon. No, that's not how this works. You don't call a meeting and then tell me the details are coming soon. Why'd you even call a meeting? Oh, I forgot. Fake storylines. Okay, let me get back on track. So Tisha said at the end, the meeting didn't go as well as she hoped. I agree, darling. That's why you don't celebrate before the fat lady sings.
Honey, you're a paper airplane and not a 747. Don't you ever think you're anything like me just because you can fly a little.